You're watching WJLA 24/7 News Good Morning Washington Express. On your side.
This has obviously been an extraordinarily challenging week for all Virginians, and I think regardless where we stand, I mean, there needs to be a moment of our Commonwealth coming together.
Senator Warner also calling this an awful week for Virginia Democrats. Crisis in Richmond expanding, another day, another name now pulled into the growing political chaos in the Commonwealth. Virginia's Senate Majority Leader, Republican Tommy Normant, now says he was an editor for a VMI yearbook filled with racist photos and slurs. And we bring in our political insider, Armstrong Williams, to discuss all this. Yeah, tough week for sure. All three of the top political people in Virginia facing these scandals, two of them for blackface, that's the governor and the attorney general, and the lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, facing his own personal scandal over a sexual assault allegation. Now we're hearing of a fourth, the Senate Majority Leader, who was this editor for the VMI yearbook in which there were blackface and racial slur photos and pictures and captions. So where do you see this having an end at all? Is this just going to go on and more people will come out of the woodwork?
Just goes to show you the sensitivity of race in this country. Listen, for me, and this may surprise you, I mean, does it really surprise us that during this time that they were in blackface, whether he was trying to, Michael Jackson dressed up like a Klansman, that's the time that we're in. It goes to show you just how far America has come. You know, our founding fathers, if they had had the wisdom and the foresight to never allow slavery, which led to all these isms and de jure segregation, we would not be having this discussion. We would be discussing real issues. You know, I don't hold it against Northam or any of them in the blackface because that's who they were at the time. I'm willing to bet you, Melanie, you could have so many members of Congress, depending on the generation, the courts, and many of them can identify. It wasn't illegal. It was a thing that they were doing at the time. But it goes to show that, you know, America has the ability of redemption and forgiveness. Now, Fairfax.
So you're saying they shouldn't step down?
No, absolutely not. No, that's not the answer. And listen, he's a Democrat. I don't care about that. He was young. They learned. And what matters is what has he done in his life since then? In terms of public service, in terms of his attitudes, can someone allege that he's a racist, that discriminated against them and held them back? And so he's evolved. We've got to forgive. And then the other thing is, Fairfax's situation is quite different, though, because the allegations were made when he was seeking that position, and the Washington Post decided that there was not enough collaboration to run the story. You know, I just feel bad for them. We should never relish when people go through these upheavals in these situations. It's a tough situation. I mean, you can do certain things and it come back and can just blow up your entire career. But Fairfax has an issue, and the fact that the Senate Majority Leader edited the book, who's surprised? I mean, the kind of conversations that people have today among themselves will shock you. So I just think he should not step down. Now, his issue.
Okay, what should they do moving forward to show remorse and show that they have changed?
You know, listen, the only thing I think it makes them a better person. I think it makes them more sensitive. I think they can lecture. I think it would be great if other young people could see these examples and the kind of racist incidents that we still have in this society. They say, wow, this has to stop. If we can learn from those examples of the things that we should not do, because it's really a moral issue. It's an issue of sensitivity. It's an issue of not harming and hurting your brother and your sister. And so, you know what? Continue to do your job, sensitive to these issues, and pick out and speak out and condemn bigotry and racism anywhere you see it. Because listen, he can say, I was a part of that. I can speak, and I understand the harm at the time. I didn't realize it at the time, but a lot of people are hurt. And my going to apologize to my colleagues, it will never be enough. So he has to do it through deed and through example.
Do you think that they can still be effective leaders if they continue on in their job?
Yes.
That they can put this behind them and move on?
Yeah, God used the most flawed men.
Promote their agendas.
God used the most flawed men in the Bible, David, Joseph, Moses, to do his greatest work. Learn from that example. Men are flawed. That's not going to stop. We're going to make mistakes. We're human. But we got to forgive and believe that man can be better. That's what makes us all better, is the belief in man that through moral striving and through repentance and through these apologies that we can be better and everybody around us will also be better.
You know, the problem for Democrats in Virginia calling for their ouster is that, well, who's next in line? You've got 3 Democrats who possibly could step down. The next person in line is a Republican. You would be handing over control, the next governor, into Republican hands.
Listen, once the media decides that this story is not worthy of headlines, and it sort of recedes to the dark, like many stories eventually. Obviously, I don't think Northam is going to step down. I just think, I don't know what's going to happen with Fairfax.
Yeah.
Fairfax, that's a real issue. In fact, Fairfax's issue is far more serious than the governor, the attorney general, and the Senate Majority Leader. I'm just sorry. I mean, this Me Too movement, you know, sometimes when we have these movements, it started out with Harvey Weinstein and Bill O'Reilly, but look at how the people that has been engulfed in this Me Too movement. You have no idea where this may end up. And the slightest thing you may have done can become it can erupt like a volcano. I just hope it all work out for the benefit of the people, that the work of the people is not slowed down and not compromised as a result of these scandals. But listen, as Obama did with Henry Louis Gates, it's a teachable moment. It's a moment for all of us to learn from. And you know what everybody should do now? Everybody should come out and say, hey, I'm guilty too. I admire what the Attorney General did, because first he called for his ouster, then he said, wait a minute, how can I throw stones at his house when I did the same? What people need to say, this is what I did, I'm sorry, and everybody need to come forward so we don't go digging, finding other things that somebody else says in Virginia and anywhere else. Just come out and say the things that you've done in the past, apologize for it, and move on.
Virginia in the national headlines this week, sparking a national conversation on race. Thanks so much for your thoughts today, Armstrong Williams. And you can catch the Armstrong Williams Show. It airs every Saturday morning at 10:30 here on WJLA 24/7 News. And we'll be right back.